Well, it's the first interview of 2021, a new season, new team structure, so much more has gone on in the past couple months with Austin than probably with any other team minus the two expansion teams in Dallas and the Giltinis and stuff. We've had so many changes. One of those changes technically happened last year, but it actually got announced this year, and it's kind of exciting. So for our first guest, I thought who better to come on than a local fan favorite, an icon of Austin rugby. We'll call him that and have fun with it. But I'd like to welcome on our very own Austin area native, Round Rock native, Christian Ostberg. Christian, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, it's been a whirlwind of a past, well, almost a year now, right? Like, so a year ago you had left France. So you were at Stade, forgot how to say it. Aurillac? Aurillac. Okay. So you were at Stade Aurillac playing, Pro D2 over in France. Mm-hmm. And you technically were over here around this time last year. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
roughly
when it happened so quick, like, I was at a point over there in France where, nothing was really happening. I think with everything that had happened about a year or two beforehand, it almost just seemed like management, everything like that, they're just like, look, he kind of knows too much going on and like under the table with business and things. And I think it's kind of just time to get him out,
Yeah.
And it seemed like no matter what I did, I was every day, blood, sweat, tears, putting everything into it to try and just even get selected. And it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I could all day run up and down the field, break away, outrun fullback, score tries. Like I was feeling good. And they'd be like, you need to do more.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Come on.
Literally. So I just contacted my agent, like, look, what should we do? And I remember his first option was, I've got a guy over in Russia. Ooh. If you want to get over there. And I was like, Siberia, all that. That's not sounding too fun right now. But like
as an Austin native, Siberia doesn't exactly.
Yeah, no, not so much. No.
Warmth.
So he's like, we could throw you over there. He's like, they're, and it was the Russian team that plays, in the Champions Cup and things like that. So,
okay.
I mean, not a bad team, but it's still like it's the only Russian team. I was like, if you really think if you think that's my only option, okay.
Yeah.
I just kind of slid in there. I was like, maybe check Austin just to see, because I heard at the time, things were changing.
The whispers.
So quickly. Exactly.
So
and everything had just come out with the Gilgronis too. So I was like, maybe we just check over there.
Yeah.
And it all just sort of happened so quick.
That's awesome. So, we'll come back to that, but let's kind of let's go back in time, right? So you're a kid. You're growing up in the Round Rock area. You went to, excuse me, you're there at Stony Point High School in Round Rock, and how'd you get a hold of rugby? What was the rugby scene like in Texas, in that area at that particular time coming up back in?
Well, it wasn't anything.
What year? What year was that? 2010,
that was
2011?
2000. I first picked it up. I guess that was 2010, like, early of 2010.
Yeah.
Freshman year of high school, and I'd always been a big guy, but I never really started growing into my body till towards the end of high school and really got it. So I'm a goofy freshman in high school and not really athletic yet, and always is dreaming that I can do something in football.
Well, you're from Texas, of course. You have to. Yeah. You have to.
Yeah, exactly. And at that time, Stony Point was actually doing really well with their football team. I mean, they were 3-4 years in a row. We went to the state semifinal every single year. I mean, we had guys who were going to UT, Baylor, everything. So we had some. I mean, football was big for us at the time, and that's all you're kind of thinking about. But yeah, I just kind of heard that we had a team. I was like, that might be kind of cool, and it was considered like it was a legit team. By all standards. I mean, it played against all the high school teams in the state. Either your St. Thomas at the time, who was the powerhouse. You had the Straight Jesuits. You had all those Dallas Jesuit. We played against all of them, but by the school standards, they were looking in. We weren't considered really a big deal. They had us in the back with the chess club, the glee club. We were just a whatever kind of club off to the side. So.
Well, the fact that you had it in your high school is
I
something
mean, yeah,
that
yeah. So
when I was in
it
high school,
was,
10 years
yeah,
plus prior to you, we did not have
yeah.
it in
I
high
mean,
school.
exactly, exactly. And it was run literally by just a high school teacher, history teacher who loved rugby to this day, loves rugby,
Yeah.
everything, and was just the driving force. It was literally just him pushing it. And then fast forward to now, we get some other people involved, and it's now in a whole area
Yeah.
team, and it's also doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean, I'm pretty sure that times are nationally ranked and stuff
yeah.
too.
And
So
so, for those that aren't listening, or those are listening and watching that aren't familiar, it's now become Rock Rugby, basically. That
yeah,
whole area,
yep.
kind of taking the whole Round Rock. I don't know how far they go over to Cedar Park, Leander. I know the people from all over that part of town that come in. Like it's a big area
I
that they
feel
cover.
like Coach Rock might have told me maybe there was a kid or two from like Austin High School or like
Yeah,
AISD, something like. I mean, they
that's
literally
awesome.
are just welcoming to everybody. It's like if you can't get to any of the schools close by you,
Yeah,
come over to us
go over
and
us.
you can play with us.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Good stuff.
Mhm.
So you go from high school, you get selected to play with the USA select side. Was that in 2019? Playing the AR, was it
Mhm.
not the ARC? It was I forget what the IRB,
It was
the
the
junior.
ARC, but
But it was
yeah.
before the ARC, and you played the
Oh
Junior
yeah,
World Championships and stuff like that. Kind of
yeah. Yeah.
take us through that all the way up to, you know, going into your D2 time. Like so,
Okay.
you've
Oh
kind of
man,
yeah, I know you've traveled a lot. You've been
I've
around.
traveled a lot, and I feel like everything since the beginning, even back in high school, has always just been focused on going overseas and playing professionally.
Yeah,
That's kind of where everything was. Because I mean, you had at the time, especially back in high school, there was nothing at all, even pointing in the direction of anything professional here in the U.S. So
no,
everything was to do anything, you have to leave Texas, and that was at the time too, where anyone even playing on a national team, whether it be age grade U20s up to collegiate All Americans to, the men's side, there was no one out of Texas.
yeah,
So I was like, the only way to be looked at is to leave, which led to, I got selected after a couple of years of playing for the high school All Americans, which led into getting looked at for college, which led to getting a scholarship for Life University. Um,
fairly well known, you know,
yeah. And a
college
lot of
team.
that too, yeah, and a lot of that too is I feel like I've always been a first for a lot of things. I felt like there wasn't a lot going on in Texas, and I kind of wanted Texas to be known through high school. And
Mhm.
with what I did through high school, kind of made Texas known slightly because I brought that with me to the high school Americans, and I brought that with me to Life University, and I helped pave the way for a lot of local guys and promoted them to try and come into Life University because I was one of the first.
Mhm.
Um, I was the first, I think, actually out of the area for like scholarship purposes.
Nice.
Um, and then just kind of was helping up however much I could, to kind of keep driving it here locally.
No.
Um, and then, yeah, so after my freshman year of high school, which that was a whole crazy thing, because I broke my jaw in my freshman year of high school.
Nice.
Yeah,
As many do.
as you do, as you do. And so, fast forward a couple months through that, I end up somehow getting selected for the USA Under 20s. First bit of rugby since breaking my jaw was with the U20s, so that was kind of cool.
Cool.
And did fairly well in the Junior World Championship when we were in that,
Yeah.
even though we got pumped by everyone like 100-0. But
But you
as
got to think about the growth of the sport from
yeah,
then, even
well,
from then
we were
until
in the
now.
pool of death at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in
So
France, and
France,
in our
England.
pool, there's us, France, England, South Africa. South Africa won it the year before.
Yeah.
England wins it that year, and we're playing against the home country.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what do you expect out of us? Really?
Yeah.
Like, we weren't going to do much anyway. But yeah, I did well enough of just some basic stuff where I had some agents contact me, and I put it off for a year because I was like, I kind of want to focus on school.
Yeah.
Um, but then just had a crazy rough year where, I guess emotionally, mentally, everything was just up and down, and I just needed something different. So I contacted back these agents, and I was like, hey, let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
And I just took the first contract that was offered, which was to go to Italy.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Spent
after that, it was just
spent a good time there. You went to England as
yeah.
well. Like you were there
So
for
yeah, in
a
the
couple
same
years.
season, I was literally England, Italy happened within the same season. So I went to
Mm,
Italy, was supposed to be there for the full season. It was like 8 months or so, 9 months, and was only there for six because I some team in England heard about me and they ended up buying me out of my contract, and I flew up there. So within a week, we got the phone call like a Monday, Tuesday, signed the contract. Wednesday, switch, you know, rugby federations. And luckily I was able to do that easily because I had a Swedish passport.
yeah.
So that was easy.
Let's talk about that family
And
stuff a little bit
yeah, definitely.
later.
Um, so, um, so what was that? Like a Wednesday, switch federations. Thursday, I get my plane ticket. Friday, fly out. Saturday, I'm on the bench in England. And I'm doing lineouts with them, and they're like, "Well, let's see what you got." You know, now is the time to see.
Yeah.
On my first lineout, they're like, "Oh, that wasn't so bad. I guess this was a good call."
It could have gone a whole lot worse. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then when I got to England, that was the only time I was on the bench, and after that, I started every game
Yeah.
there in England. And within about maybe a month after that, I was in negotiations with moving over to France. So, like, it all happened so quick.
Man,
But
it's kind of a whirlwind. And so, and you spent
yeah,
how many years? 5 years in France?
yeah,
About 5 years or so. I mean,
about five
it's
years.
a
Yeah.
long time for
Mhm.
at one team. You talk about people who are
Yeah.
playing in anywhere right now in professional rugby around
Mhm.
the world. Most people don't spend that time there, so it's good to kind of
No.
have that longevity. You kind of create roots and a basis there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you've spent your time in France. You've played over there, and then Austin happens,
Yeah.
and then you come to Austin, you're lacing up, and then something called a pandemic happened. What was that?
Um, yeah. So even leading up to that, I mean, like I said before, I needed something, and Austin was there to kind of help
Yeah,
pick me up, and I only threw it out there in the first place as his home,
yeah,
born, raised, literally, I am Austin to my
yeah,
core. And to even have that chance where I actually got lucky where I'm looking for the opportunity and they're like, we actually got some injuries and we were actually about to contact you in the first place
yeah.
just to see. Um,
But
and within a week and a half or so, I was
yeah,
on my way over.
but Austin wasn't your first choice, right? It wasn't actually.
No, not from the beginning.
It
No.
wasn't in the top five, was it? Well, okay,
Um,
maybe we'll call it. It wasn't top three.
yeah, no. I'd say leading up to when the change happened, or let's say it became more intriguing once the first rebranding happened, and then 4 or 5 months later, when the second rebranding happened, it just sounded a bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, it's and then of course the team was getting ready to announce your arrival, your signing that week of San Diego, the week that got
Oh
canceled.
no, the day the league and the sporting world shut down,
Was the day that
that
you
was
were
the
going?
day I was supposed to get announced.
Yeah,
So I'm like waiting, speaking to like our social media guy, like, hey, when are you thinking about announcing everything?
like Austin, get me
Around
out there. Come on,
noon,
man.
1 o'clock. And I was like, okay, cool. We get to noon, 1 o'clock, and I'm seeing,
NBA,
MLB is calling
everybody.
everything off. NBA is calling everything off, and I'm like, okay, okay. And then we get to a few hours after they were supposed to, and I get a text from him like, yeah, I don't think we're going to do it today. We don't want you to kind of get hidden
Yeah,
behind all this stuff. I was like, that I totally get.
yeah.
That's fine. And everything.
Little did you realize that the getting hidden would last about 5.5 months, right?
Yeah, yeah. So then I was in this weird bubble situation where my contract was only for 3 months anyway.
Yeah,
And so once everything was done and technically season was done and Millar called everything off,
yeah.
I'm like, my contract must be
You're
done too.
free agent, yeah,
I'm a free agent. But then no one knew where I'm at. Everyone had just heard I left France.
yeah,
There was some rumors I was here in town, but other than that, that there was nothing.
yeah,
And so I didn't really hear much at all for a long time. And I was just telling my agent constantly, like, maybe we try here, maybe we try here, maybe we try this, maybe we try that, just to get
something.
something going, even though Austin was saying they're like, we want to keep you, we
Yeah.
want to do whatever. But
Well, it's also kind of hard
yeah,
too because nobody was playing rugby.
no one's playing, no one's doing anything. And I just do so much better with communication. So I was like, if we've got some communication going on, whether it's positive or negative,
Yeah.
I'm just going to feel better because at least that makes me know that I'm on people's radars.
Yeah.
And we were going months with nothing. I was like, oh, like this couldn't have happened at a worse time.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but
but from the beginning, Austin was, I mean, we were talking, I mean, that this was where I was going to be no matter what.
you know,
It was just a matter of, like I said, communication. That's all I was looking for. And once we got it going, it happened so quick. So
yeah,
it was easy.
it happened. You've been announced. You've been all over social media. I mean, man,
Yeah.
you've got you've been on other podcasts. I know
Yeah.
with the Eagles Abroad. I think was one of them I
Mhm.
saw, and you've been on.
Mhm.
I don't know. Have you been on ESPN? Any talk shows on there that I missed or anything like that?
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah,
They
but
have not liked the negotiations. So
sometime soon. But
yeah.
but it's been exciting, right? So since you have announced that you are coming back, we now
Mhm.
have new coaches, new
Yep.
teams, new everything. Give me a feeling of what it's like right now for you and kind of the excitement now. Like you talked about, like, oh yeah, it was interest, the first rebrand of going to the herd, and
Yeah.
then like the second was like,
Mhm.
oh, that's even more interesting. Now, fast forward from those 5 months, take out the great personal things that happened to you, which we'll
Mhm.
round out about at the end. But then tell us what it's like now with the team. Like what's kind of the excitement around? How have you guys been
Yeah.
handling stuff, getting ready for the season, new coaches, new
Mhm.
everything?
I mean, it has been very different. I came in already excited back at the beginning of COVID, seeing something completely different than what I was used to now, and gaining some trust actually from then, with only the 2 weeks really that I was there,
Yeah.
and relationships, and I was like, this is where I want to be. To now, fast forward, and realizing the issue for maybe some lack of communication with even me staying in Austin was due to the fact there was so much going on
Behind the
behind closed
scenes, yeah.
doors. Like we're getting practically a completely new team. We're getting
Yeah.
almost completely new coaching staff, literally completely new
A
coaching
completely
staff
new
and
coaching
completely
staff.
new staff.
Yeah.
I mean, everything within
It's almost like a
the,
whole new organization.
it is, and it's pretty much the bread and butter of what I knew going into Austin is not the same.
Yeah.
It's completely different, and still trying to get used to it on my end because, I mean, I came into a new team trying to develop new relationships, and within 2 weeks of what I thought I was like, this going in the right direction, I'm having to do something else completely different,
Start
and
all
it's
over
over
again.
Zoom,
Yeah. Right.
and it's over phone calls, and it's over, and these coaches wanting to keep me, and they've literally heard nothing
Yeah.
about me. I think that was kind of the cool thing with all this is, you know, I do check off a lot of boxes with the team values of
Yeah.
being local, of having some professional experience, things like that. And I think that's what helped me stay in
Yeah.
within the coach's sort of ideas and core values. But, we're kind of starting to learn each other now. And with just a few Zoom calls and some one-on-one talks, and it's all moving in a great direction
Yeah.
for me personally, for where I want my career to go, as well as with where the team was to where it's going to be going.
Yeah. And
It's all going to be
I think there's
great.
a new level of excitement as well, right? Like,
Big
so
time. Oh, yeah.
there's, we talk about, I'm a marketing guy. People
Mhm.
know this. We've talked about it on the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
it's exciting to see billboards on 35 and First Street. Like, look, you drive through
Mhm.
downtown and you see. I joked on Twitter to Dan Power, who I'm talking to a little bit later,
Yeah.
about the the Kurt's sultry eyes staring into you,
Oh my
kind of
gosh. It just pierces your heart, doesn't it?
coaxing you to come to watch rugby. It does. It
It's
pierces your heart
hypnotizing.
and soul, man.
Oh my gosh. And I think for me, it surprised me actually. I was visiting family and doing team stuff in Round Rock, and I'm heading back to my parents, and as soon as you get off 45 and get onto 620, there's another big billboard there of
Yeah.
Kurt that I saw a few weeks back. I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. And I had to swerve a little bit. I was like, oh, let's stay on the road.
He does.
Like you're
Kurt
not expecting
stares
it.
into your
It's
soul.
very subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's very subtle too. You really have to look, and it's a great billboard.
yeah.
I love
No,
it.
it's good stuff, and it's good to see all the great stuff that's been going on. For you, rugby aside, like you're now coming home. What's it going to be like? I know your family is, your parents are your biggest supporters.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've talked to your dad on Instagram and stuff. We look behind you at you are at your parents' house, and we look behind you and
Shrine is
your
what we
shrine
call it.
of,
The shrine,
of Christian. uh,
basically.
he had asked to do some of the a Viking graphic with some of your photos, which
Yeah.
I'll get to eventually. But I think what's it going to mean like to actually get out there? And what now? We're 60 days,
Uh,
60 something days away. 50. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know the exact number anymore. But
Yeah, it feels weird,
we're close. What's it?
honestly.
Bold Stadium, getting out in front of your parents and playing for the first time in MLR.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's a weird feeling because I think now it's just when I say the last month, the anxiety's kicking in where it feels like no matter what I do, preparation wise, in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm not going to be ready.
Yeah.
Fitness, I'm not going to be ready. I'm not going to be ready. That's how I always get around this time. But I've had to change my mentality when it's been to coming home.
Yeah.
Since I was 18, I was always coming back to visit,
Yeah.
and it was always a visit. And could kind of come back, relax. I could kind of eat whatever I wanted for a few weeks. I could kind of chill. It was a vacation. So the last, almost year now, it's been work,
Yeah.
and I've had to switch that up a little bit. And everyone's mentality kind of around how things have been with my career, with the MLR, with everything like that, it's changed
Yeah.
within the family, which has been great. Um, but it's just weird. I mean, I haven't played in Texas since high school,
Since
really.
2000. Yeah. Since 2000. What, 19 or 18ish? Whenever that
Yeah,
was.
yeah, literally, it
Yeah. I
was.
guess.
Oh,
Oh,
when
that's right.
was
Because
that?
you would have played. Yeah. No, you would
Oh,
have played
yeah, I haven't played
2014ish.
since high school, so it's been later, 2012.
Sound good?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit crazy. So
Yeah.
it's been a long time, and so I'm just more looking forward to it. I mean, I haven't had the whole family watch me before. It's always been maybe, or say that back. Last time maybe the whole family watched me was maybe back in high school again.
Yeah.
But it's been 8 9 years now. So
And it's going to be, they're the team is being built. We talked a little bit beforehand. You have yourself, but that's going to be great for your parents to watch. But it's got to be exciting to play with some of the guys that are actually signing with the team now too. Like you and
no,
I
big
talked
time.
about like
Yeah.
the quality of players that are coming into play. Sebastian
Oh
De
yeah.
Chavez, like
Mhm.
Regan O'Gorman, like the unannounced Isaac Ross, announced by
Yeah.
some but not announced by Austin yet. We'll see if
Yeah.
that happens. I hope it happens. But even as a player coach,
Who
to
knows?
learn from people like that,
Um.
that how does that make you
Yeah.
feel from just knowing the quality of player that is coming in along with yourself to play in Austin, to be that engine room in that scrum, in the
Mhm.
be the line out winners. Yeah, I think for me, I'm excited, but I kind of interested how you feel about all these big profile players coming in.
I think I'm definitely excited for it. I think I've known for a long time. I mean, even back when you go back to like the pro rugby days, for that one kind of crazy season, I had French guys, with asking me like, "Do you know anything about this league? I want to get over to the US and
Yeah,
play." Like, I knew players were going to be coming, and I knew Austin had the potential of bringing some high profile guys
yeah,
in, or just guys with a lot of experience. But I was not expecting the group that we've got coming in like this,
yeah,
to where, like last season, even just the 2 weeks I was there, I almost felt like I was the highest profile guy that they had kind of coming in. I mean, we had Will that had just come in, we had Kurt, but all these guys had just come in. All of us were just slowly coming in,
yeah,
and we were the high profile, even though to see some of the guys we got coming in now, nothing even compares to it.
yeah.
You know,
I
there's so much skill level there that to learn from and to take from, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting, and that's part of it, right? Like in previous seasons, we're always, not, I know stuff happened for you different, but we're always like, okay, well, this guy is going to be here in 2 weeks and in 3 weeks. And at the beginning of the season, we always had those hard times at the beginning of the year. Like we lost in the past 3 seasons, we've had early losses because we haven't had our team set and ready to go. But now,
Yeah,
I mean, I know people that are like, all the guys are going to be here soon. Like Robbie Coetzee, like he's already here. Like he's got a
yeah,
house. Like the guys are moving here. They're getting here. The coaches are here. Everybody's on their
mhm,
way. Like,
yeah,
okay, like we don't have to worry about visa issues this year.
Yeah,
Like that's
I
a
think
tough one.
that's been actually the really cool thing is they've really pushed it. Like we need everyone here by this time, just in case there's any mix up or craziness with the country. We can kind of limit that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Get everyone here as early as possible, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's been
fantastic. Well, it's good stuff. I don't want to take much more of your time. I want to kind of ask you what's been the top 3 things for you that's happened since you've come back to the United States. Doesn't have to be
top.
yeah, top 3 things. Well, just
Well,
curiosity.
maybe not in much of an order.
I think I know it should be number 1. I'm hoping you save it.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm not wanting to put an order in there. I mean, you can already kind of tell here, I guess. I did get married, and just recently too.
Congratulations, by the way.
Wife. Thank you to my amazing wife. That's even weird to say.
Is she sitting there watching you right now as you're doing this?
No, she honestly doesn't care. This is my time.
This is my time.
Make me feel good. This is mine. So,
hey man, happy wife, happy life.
When I walk out there, I'm not the rugby player.
Yeah,
like you mentioned before, I've been on social media, I've been this, been that, and I'll be like, "Hey, have you seen any of that?" She's like,
"No, I don't care." She's not gonna. She's not gonna watch this or listen to this episode.
Yeah, no, she brings me from here down. She humbles me out. So
now your parents the other way around. They'll definitely listen and watch. I think your dad for sure.
Back and forth. I feel like it depends on the situation. I've had them tell me like, "What are you doing with your career? You gotta figure like, let's do something else. You're looking too far into the stars or whatever." And then I've had other times where they're in the stars, and I'm like, "Yo, y'all need to calm down." So yeah, no, it's up and down. Nice. So it's been a good time, honestly, being in the house because we're all kind of here in the house together and trying to make it work, figured out right now with team, with pandemic, with all that. So
yeah. So married is number 1. That's
well, yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
So what's your other 2?
The other 2 maybe I think probably just how close me and the family have gotten. Not even just here in the house, but I've got a lot of my aunt and uncle, cousins. They live down the street. Grandparents live in Round Rock. So we've all found times and moments to get close and get just kind of catch up, and it's been good. It's been fun. And I'd say the third might be I don't know. I figured out a lot during 2020 with the pandemic. I feel like I knew MLR was always going to happen. I knew Austin was always going to happen, even when everything hit. But I had to try and figure out a way to make ends meet and make things work and do some stuff on the fly. And I've matured a lot.
Time for reflection, yeah.
Big time.
Nice.
And realizing too that there's rugby's not everything, which has been kind of hard to swallow sometimes. But knowing that when rugby's all over and done with, that there's going to be a future, there's going to be something else after it. But then on top of that, take advantage of the time I've got with rugby because I feel like I've had a lot taken away from me in a short amount of time and can use this time to get back on track. Yeah. So
what's the biggest thing you're looking forward to this upcoming season?
The biggest thing I'm looking for, getting a starting spot, really.
Yeah.
I think that being a consistent starter with that jersey on is going to be the biggest thing for me. And at the same time, too, I'm looking forward to bringing sort of what I had overseas and bringing it back here into Austin with some of the stuff I might have been known for over there.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it back over here with me and going to make a thing for it. So I'm looking forward to bringing it all back and bringing it all back home. So.
That's awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. We look forward to it. We look forward to seeing you out there on the pitch. We look forward to watching you and the rest of the team play and kick off here in a matter of weeks. It seems like now. So
yeah, I know.
The countdown. Training is coming up soon for you, or preseason stuff, and so that'll be exciting. But Christian Ostberg, we greatly appreciate you coming on and joining us, and we look forward to catching up with you later in the year and all the good things coming out of Austin here.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. Definitely catch up soon.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too.